The river is vital to our heritage. It's what piece of what makes us who we are.
For Chief Roland Wilson, this valley is where his son caught his first fish, the same valley where his grandmother was raised.
This river is a main artery in the territory. You know, it's the only river that flows from the west side of the Rocky Mountains through to the east side. It brings the warm coastal winds through the valley. That's how come the growing season down here is quite a bit different. Why we can grow 8-pound cantaloupe and this prickly pear cactus that grows here. You know, and that's a part of what this valley means.
Wilson hopes to share this land with his future grandchildren if the valley is not flooded first as construction continues on the Site C Dam. And he's encouraged after a visit from the newly elected Green Party caucus last week that the government is finally listening to First Nation concerns.
When you come to a place that has such a rich history with First Nations, rich history here, there's going to be sites all up and down here that are going to, I mean, they were here. Indigenous people lived here and worked here and played here, and there's going to be sites like the ones that we saw today. What's key and what's important in all of this, of course, is that the provincial government has compassion for that.
Premier Christy Clark was also in Fort St. John last week to visit Site C workers and tour the construction site. She said she has heard Chief Wilson's concerns, but is committed to fighting for the over 2,000 employees working on the project.
It's about whether or not we want to send pink slips to the 2,200 people in these communities who are depending on these jobs, and whether or not we want to foreclose this generational opportunity to provide clean power that's going to electrify our economy and let us fight climate change. That's what this is really about. Chief Roland Wilson wants to stop the project. I want to fight for it.
The West Moberly First Nations say they were never properly consulted about the project from the beginning. Chief Wilson says the province should look at energy alternatives like geothermal and would like to see the over $8 billion project receive a proper review from the BC Utilities Commission. He would also like to see more consultation from the government when it comes to Treaty 8 lands.
We have a signed agreement with the province that we're supposed to have one meeting a year with the Premier of British Columbia so we could talk about these issues. And we haven't had that. You know, they've failed that agreement.
BC Hydro is working with community and First Nations to establish whether or not that is indeed there and what they can do to try and align it appropriately if it is. Because, the basis for this project going forward has been a respectful relationship with First Nations from the very beginning.
But Chief Wilson says the project never received a Sparrow analysis that takes a look on the negative impacts projects like Site C have on First Nations. He says the courts have acknowledged the ministers don't have to complete the analysis, even though they're the ones who make the decisions.
But yet, we're just Indians. We're not worth anything. And that, to me, that infuriates me. That makes me mad because they're saying my kids don't matter and our family's kids don't matter, right? All because some people that somewhere else may need a job. We signed a treaty. They have an obligation to protect our way of life, and they're, defecating on it.
Brendan Miller, CJDC-TV News from the Peace River Valley.